Welcome to Three and Out with Jason and Kevin. I am Jason. That's Kevin. We are on the Orange and Black Insider on YouTube. It's not just us. It's OBI which is Anthony and John. And then for the audio side, we're a proud member of the Believe Network. It is Three and Out, which is us, OBI, Matt and Willie No Ball, and then Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends. New content, Bengals content every day. The channel is Believe in Cincy, BLEAV in Cincy. Update your RSS feeds and check it out. That's the happiest we're going to be.
Yeah. I don't know how Jason's going to title this episode, but I'm guaranteed it's going to be something that's going to let you know what the tone of this is going to be. Normally we're both homers, kind of unapologetically so. But this ain't that episode. Nope. I feel like we both have a few things we want to talk about, some realities that it might be time to face. It's not happy. If you came here to listen to people vent, you're in the right place. If you want a positive take, skip this episode, hop on to the next one. We'll be back. We're never gonna bail on the franchise, but sometimes you gotta just say some obvious things that no one wants to say.
So I think that we've been before we get into it, I think that we've had we got Joe Burrow. It's like, okay, we have our new franchise quarterback, and then year one, he's hurt. So we're like, it's a wash. He got hurt. And then year two, he comes back, we go to the Super Bowl, right? And then year three, we go to the AFC Championship game. And then year four, he's hurt. So it's a wash. And then we kind of look at each other and it's like, well, there's some injury concerns, right? But he's never been bad. You know what I mean? It's only when he's hurt. It's only when he's hurt that they're bad. And then we come into this year, and there are no excuses. He was healthy. He's been healthy. We can sit here and we could talk. Well, he's got the wrist thing. He throws the ball fine. I don't see any issue. We saw 2 deep passes to Chase. You know what I mean? Did you see any wrist issue at all on those passes?
On those passes, no. Maybe one or two other things, but they would just be chalked up to the occasional mistake if we weren't all staring so closely at Joe Burrow's wrist. Joe Burrow's not the problem. The offense isn't the problem. If we're being honest with ourselves, the defense isn't even the problem, at least not the core of it. The problem is that we all have watched these last couple off seasons go by with rose-colored glasses because we're just so happy to have Joe Burrow, and we're just so happy for the fact that management is modernizing to ignore the fact that they're not. They are the same old Bengals. They do business the same old way. And we have been bleeding talent at an alarming rate with almost no plan whatsoever to replace it. They call us cheap, and I usually get upset by that. I get defensive about it. The truth is, it might be a real concern. I'm going to let Jason talk here in just a minute, but I'm sitting here staring at the roster turn for the last couple seasons. We lose Bates. We lose Reeder. Ogunjobi. That was a minor one, but we lost him too. We're going to lose Hendrickson once out, or he wants a larger contract. We still can't sign Jamar. Other than Burrow, we have been losing key players on this team. We'll continue to lose key players on this team with nothing but vague draft hopes to replace them. We tried to replace Jesse Bates with Dax Hill. Dax Hill, at best, was a project. And we were in our Super Bowl window. It's just unsustainable, and I think we're finally watching this thing collapse.
So, I'm stuck in this weird place where because I do agree with a lot of what you said, but I'm stuck in this weird place where I don't know how I should feel. So, I either get to believe that management really has not changed, and it's just a coincidence that they've modernized the franchise a little bit to go along with some extra spark that Joe Burrow brought, but they've allowed the team to decay, especially defensively, which we both agree with, and they have cap space for T and Chase, but they're not going to do it. They still haven't paid Chase. And then, like you said, they decided we're going to replace Bates, who I don't know how many Atlanta Falcons games you've watched, but he looks just as good down there as he did up here, like one of the best free safeties in the league. Absolutely,
he's a keystone player.
That's changes a secondary. And then, you know, they lost him, they lost Reeder, and I think a lot of us thought, like, well, Reeder's not healthy. Reeder played week 2, and he played,
Yep.
like, 30-something snaps in week 2, you know?
And for cheap, and we didn't even
Yeah.
attempt.
I know.
See, I thought he was
So
going to be more banged up than he was. I thought it was gonna take longer
yeah,
for him to get back on the field, but I was still preaching, "Well, offer him something.
yeah,
Offer him
something,
something,"
anything.
because I'm on the record for saying he would be a great bargain. He'll accept less money,
Right,
and don't look at it as signing an injured player week 1. Look at it as picking up a really talented free agent week 8. I said those words,
right.
and they
Yeah,
barely even spoke to him. That is a bad look.
it is. It is, and it's a bad look for any free agent or any player who's thinking about spending his career here. Is like, what happens, when I get a little bit older? What happens when I get hurt? You know what I'm saying? Stuff
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, they've allowed the defense. What we saw on Monday was the worst defensive performance I've ever seen in a Bengals game, period, ever.
Yes.
And I'm not taking anything away from Jaden Daniels because he played really well.
He did.
He did one touchdown where he caught Terry McLaurin over the shoulder when he was getting blitzed and hit as he threw. And you can't throw a pass better than that. You know what I mean? And it was
Yes.
pretty good coverage. It was good coverage. It was just a perfect pass.
My
But I
issue with
watched
that defensive play was not that what's his name?
Jaden Daniels. Yeah.
Jaden Daniels lit us up. It's of
Yeah.
course he was going to light us up because we were selling out to stop the run. My
Yeah.
problem is we were selling out to stop the run and still barely containing the run.
Oh, I know.
That's wild.
Yep. Yep. And that's the bad thing about it is they lined up just not trying to hide anything. We're going to run the ball. And they ran the ball.
Yep.
And in the end, the Bengals defense did a decent enough job at keeping them. I think that they were below as a team. I think that they were still below 4 yards a carry, but it just wasn't when they needed it most. It didn't matter. That's when they couldn't do it. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
super frustrating. I take that back. So as a team, the Commanders did average 3.4 yards a carry. Austin Eckler killed them. 11.7 yards per carry. But it's just they couldn't stop the run when they needed to the most at the end of the game. And then when Jaden Daniels, when it was clear they weren't afraid of throwing the ball and he was finding guys wide open, you know what I mean? They waited until the very end of the game to send extra pressure because they were getting zero pressure, less than zero pressure with their standard pass rush. And then they didn't make any adjustments. We're going to drop more guys back. It was just like, oh, we're just going to keep playing against the run, I guess, just let them just keep lighting us up. Super frustrating. Yeah. But nobody was good. Nobody was good. You saw like a couple flashes. I saw like a couple Chris Jenkins plays and I was like, oh, that's exciting. But I didn't see anything from anybody consistently throughout the game other than Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase that I was excited about. I take that back. The running game was exciting.
The offense as a whole was good.
Yeah.
And I'm not mentally even in a position to really critique the defense. And what I mean by that is I don't know where to start that critique, right?
Yeah.
Because I go, okay, well, Lou Anarumo needs to figure this out. Then I look at who he's playing with, especially on the D line, and I go, okay, well, he's coaching with one hand tied behind his back. Let's look at the D line. Then I look at the D line, and that leads me right back to ownership. It's almost like you can't critique this team on any kind of level because the overall standard on the defense has dropped so low that I don't know who to even lay blame on. I will not blame Lou. I will not do it. I'm not saying he's guilt-free. But the whole Fire Lou crowd, how do you know he's bad? He's coaching. Yeah. He has no talent on the ball. Like,
correct me if I'm wrong, but against the Commanders, we started. Yeah, against the Commanders, we started Jay Tufele and Zach Carter.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Zach Carter, I think Zach Carter had the most snaps on the D line.
Yeah. That's bad. That's not good.
Point.
Right, I know. And you're right. You're absolutely right.
We foresaw this before free agency even opened. Every Bengals fan who plays close attention was sitting here going, we need to shore up the D line. We need to do that. And then we didn't really do it in free agency. We got Rankins. I think he's going to be a good player. He's not Reeder, and he does not fix the issues we have. And then we went into the draft, and we got a couple draft picks. I'm especially excited about Jenkins. I'm not saying otherwise, but it is insane if you think a first-year D lineman is going to be a solution to any problem. They usually take a year or two to hit. It just is what it is.
And a first-year defensive lineman's not going to replace DJ Reader, who's one of the best run defenders in the league.
And I love Jenkins. I went out and bought a jersey of his before the season even started, just because I really do think he's going to be like the real deal. But he'll be the real deal next year or the year after that. It takes time. Draft, you cannot replace all-star players, keystone players in the draft and expect them all to hit year one.
Especially when you've struggled drafting talented players lately. Because and not to say that Dax Hill's not surprising, but he's not a safety, and he's panned out to be a decent corner so far, which has been exciting. But like the reality of it is, I think you and I were both ready to write him off just completely. It's just a wasted draft pick before this season, right? Because I don't know if his transition to corner was going to be good. I agree with you. I mean, you're saying all the right stuff. Is everybody knew looking at this defense is that, where's the weak point? It's at the defensive tackle position. And mainly because after BJ Hill and after Sheldon Rankins, you don't really know what you got. You got two rookies who could be good, could be bad, who knows. And then you got Zach Carter, Jay Tufele. And so everyone knew. That's where they need the most help. But they allowed, like you said, Reader to walk. They went out and they got Rankins. They have BJ Hill, and then disaster striking was not only are their two starters hurt, but their two draft picks that they brought in are both hurt. One of them's finally playing. But I mean, those are things every team has injury issues. Everybody does. That's just a part of the NFL. And I think that like the only real position I think that you could say we lost this player, our season's over, is really quarterback, because no one's going to have, you know what I mean? It's not practical to have a backup franchise quarterback. If you're a franchise quarterback, you're starting. So it's not Joe Burrow. You know what I mean? It's not Joe Burrow. They're 0-3. The first game was just everything looked sloppy. Everything looked bad. The second game, we thought so much better. They look so much better against a team that is now they're 3-0. They look so much better against the Chiefs. They're two-time defending Super Bowl champions. And then they came out and just looked worse defensively. I wanted to come in tonight and say, like, whose fault is it? You know what I mean? But like, we've seen them coach deeper into the playoffs with less. We've seen them, we've seen Joe Burrow win with less. We've seen Lou Anarumo win with less. Well, no, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen him win with less.
No, we have not.
We have not.
Not on the defense. And I don't think the offense was ever this devoid of talent as the defense is today. Even when it was like, where it was Joe Burrow behind a O-line made of crepe paper, there were still difference makers on the offense. That's the real, like, keystone players make plays. That is what keystone players do. You cannot have a bunch of B-, C+ talent and expect it to all come out to the same when you average it out. That's simply not how it works. You have Jesse Bates because Jesse Bates is going to make the big play when you've got to. And even when that offense was beat to hell, you still had T, you still had Jamar, you still had Joe. Literally the only keystone player this defense has is Trey Hendrickson.
Now it is, yeah. I wanted to say I think Logan Wilson deserves consideration there. I think he's one of the better linebackers, but it's tough for him when he's got no help in front of him. You know what I mean? But you are right, and Cam Taylor-Britt, I think, is, a little bit maybe.
I think he's good. I think he's good.
Yeah.
I think he's yet to prove he's the guy to come down with the interception when the game is on the line.
Right. I agree with that.
And I do agree with you on Logan Wilson, but it's hard to put a linebacker in that category because it's so dependent on everyone else around them. Logan Wilson cannot play at the level we like to see him play at when everything else is crumbling around him. That's just not how linebacker, the position, works.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's not on Logan Wilson. That's just the nature of that position. So I think there are a couple things worth saying, like silver lining things. so we don't, end this episode and jump off our roofs. They have not played a division opponent yet. They are 0-3, but they have not lost any ground in the division, and 2 of the teams are just 1 game ahead. And I'm still not worried about the Steelers. I just don't care about the Steelers. So that's good. I'm not willing to say like, oh, it's, playoffs are out of reach or the division is out of reach, because I don't think that's the case. I really do still believe that this team could be good, but major adjustments have to be made moving into this week, because if they're not, I think they'll go 0-4. And at that point, I mean, I don't know if I'm sure someone has gone to the playoffs at 0-4, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you for sure. So only 6 teams since the 1970s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the overall concept that the season is not a total loss yet. And that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that win or lose, these struggles are not necessary. Most teams will navigate these issues relatively easily. They will free up cap space. They will do all sorts of shenanigans. They will trade picks.
Mm-hmm.
There are solutions to these problems. And that's where you start getting really, really frustrated. You look at what's going on the defense. You look at what's going on the team. You go, okay, well, how do we fix it? And every solution you come up with, you go, yeah, but the Bengals aren't going to do that.
Well, yeah.
Oh, well, they should trade for a player.
That.
Okay, but the Bengals aren't going to do that. The Bengals aren't going to do that. So even things like safety is still not the strength we wanted it to be. Okay, well, let's put Jordan Battle out there. And then you go, well, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're going to keep Von Bell out there. It happens over and over and over. How confident are you Sam Hubbard isn't going to be our starting right tackle, starting right edge?
Oh, how confident am I? Like, do I
6 games?
Oh,
when do you think
I'm 100% positive he'll be
Sam
starting.
Hubbard going to be our starting edge?
Yes.
Even though he's doing nothing.
Yes.
And I love
He'll
Sam
be the
Hubbard,
starting edge,
but Miles Murphy is
still
young. He's talented. He has something to prove. We should at least put him out there and see what happens. We won't do it. And that's what's frustrating. No matter what you think of, you go, well, the Bengals aren't going to do that.
Yeah. There's like loyalty, and then there's loyalty to a fault, and they've been loyal to a fault. You know what I mean? We're going to stick with this guy or this play or this coordinator or this concept for so long because we believe it can work when it's not going to work. I do have a question for you, and this is a depressing one, and I just want to know your honest answer. 21 and 22, the Super Bowl years with Joe Burrow, was that a flash in the pan? Or do you still believe after the first 3 games of the 2024 seasons, do you still believe that this team can win a Super Bowl in the next couple of years?
This is going to be the worst possible answer, and I fully expect flack for it. But if I'm just being honest, I'm just being honest. When the Bengals paid Carson Palmer, the team fell apart. When the Bengals paid Andy Dalton, the team fell apart. We have never proven that we are capable of paying our quarterback and then sustaining the franchise. And it's because we're cheap and we won't mess with the cap and we won't trade picks. And I think that window is pretty much closed unless the team starts changing the way they do business. I was having a conversation with somebody at work today, and I came to the realization that there's not a team I really do believe 31 other teams. There's not a single other team who would have been going into that Super Bowl with the O-line we had. I think they would have the moment they saw what Burrow was trying to do, they would have started making trades to shore up that line early, and we would have won that Super Bowl. That exact roster, that exact coaching staff, any other franchise wins that Super Bowl, because I just do not believe for a second that the Ravens, the Saints, any team, the Packers, go, oh, damn, we found lightning in a bottle. We should probably maximize this. And the Bengals just let it decay to the point where Joe Burrow's getting hit over and over and over and over again. Again, it's a solvable problem. It's a problem we watch franchises solve all the time. But the Bengals aren't going to do that.
So you're saying no?
I'm saying no.
Okay.
The Bengals, they need to. There's a chance. There's a chance because Burrow is so damn good and Jamar Chase is so damn good. And this offense is finally doing the things we've been asking the offense to do for 2 years. The run game is finally coming together. That's the worst part about this is this offense is finally starting to click on all levels. So there's always a chance. But I just can't be optimistic if the franchise keeps doing business this way.
Yeah.
I just can't. I know it's a bummer, and I will get my head right, and I will have a better attitude the next podcast.
No,
but
I'm going to agree with you
right now.
I'm going to agree with you. In order for it to happen, the way things are going, if things continue to go the way they're going right now, in order for it to happen in the next 2 years, every pick from this year's draft class has to flip a switch, kick it on, or 4 or 5 picks from next year's draft class have to be starters, have to go in and produce right away because they do not have the depth to win a Super Bowl right now. No way.
No.
You know, the line is better than it has been, but now they have this weird problem where the trend is reversing and teams are running the ball and defenses are not letting the big play happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like too little too late. Now the defense is a big problem. Like you didn't solve the offensive line problem when the defense was good. And now you've solved it. Like you're always a step behind. You know what I'm saying? A step behind. So in the next couple of years, no. But like you, I feel guilty about saying that. I'd like to have it turned around. So I'm not going to ask you for a score prediction or anything like that. I just want to know yes or no. Do you think the Bengals win their first game in week 4? Or do you think that Andy Dalton gets revenge?
Yes, I think Andy Dalton gets revenge. I do not see how they beat this team. I really don't. Best case scenario, we get BJ Hill back. I'm still doubtful on that. We're definitely not getting Rankins back. That seems to be an almost certainty. If we want to have positivity on this defense, it's going to come week 5, 6. It's going to come week 5, 6, or 7 when the
guys are healthy.
Players get off IR, players get healthy, and we can reevaluate. Maybe this doom and gloom thing. Maybe I'll look back on it and go, "Hey guys, I overreacted."
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I would love to eat these words, but as of right now, I do not see how this team sustains success the way they do business. We're bleeding talent, and we are not replacing it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. There's a reason that the same teams continue to win the Super Bowl over and over again.
Yes.
So because they do it the right way. Like they figured it out. They have a formula and they do it. Okay. That's enough. I don't want to do any more. It's too depressing. Well, I hope that they do beat Andy Dalton. I hope that they're 1-3 after this week, and then we can come in and panic about their first AFC North game. So we'll see. Again, we are on. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. I would just be devolving into ranting at this point, which I've been doing with surprising regularity ever since that game. Pretty much anyone who will listen.
There's a lot to be upset about.
Some version of this rant.
Yep, a lot to be upset about. Again, we're in the Orange and Black Insider. It's OBI on YouTube, and it's us OBI, which is Anthony Cosenza and John Sheeran. And then we are on the Believe Network. The channels Believe in Cincy, and Believe is BLEAV. It's OBI. It's 3 and Out. It's Matt and Willie No Ball, and it's Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends. Bengals content pretty much every single day, whether it's the season or not. So subscribe, like, follow, check it all out. We'll be back next week. Hopefully the Bengals will be 1-4. If they're not, I think that kills the season. I can't really start 0-4 and then make it to the postseason. So I don't know.
No, but I think by that point, you can expect our feelings to have mellowed out into a kind of just general sad acceptance.
Yeah. More like
so less. I don't plan on doing this every episode.
Right.
I don't think it makes good content. I don't think it's fun. And football's supposed to be fun.
Yes.
But there's just not a lot else to say right now than to just kind of spend an episode addressing the elephant in the room. And week from now, I'll put on a brave face and say good things about how Jenkins played, because I do expect to be happy with Jenkins after this next
I hope
game.
So. He needs to be. Like, Mims, that's how big of a deal.
Mims looked very good. He got mixed up a handful of times, but that's rookie stuff.
Yeah.
He wasn't really
Right.
prepared to go in. I'm very happy with the way Mims played.
I'll say this, like you said, he got mixed up a couple times. I know he gave up, I think, 2 sacks, and then one of them was really bad where he was just kind of caught off center. But a guy that big, he moves like an athlete. I mean, he moves like a skill position player. Very quick, and when he gets set, it's going to be tough to get past him. So that's true. That's good job. And then end the episode on a happy note. So we'll be back next week, and Hoo day.
Hoo day.